I noticed that there was a slight, like, synchronization problem on the VODs when I looked at them a couple of days ago. So I added a delay to the web camera and my microphone audio. Hopefully that like balances out that delay and it's not quite as noticeable. Let me know if it's better or worse, because if it's worse and it's weird to look at, I'll just have to set it back to what it was. But obviously I need feedback. Alright, so I was meaning to stream yesterday, but I sat down and started getting ready. My mind went blank, I forgot what I was doing, and then I fell asleep at my computer. So, that's what happened. We still have more of, the Lost Bastille to see. I got a little sidetracked talking about lore at the end last time. We spent like 20 minutes, half an hour, to just talking about some interesting lore. Which is fine, that's the exact reason why I'm doing this playthrough, but, just means that there's a little more content that we have to do. And you're probably thinking the same thing I am. Oh no, we have to play more Dark Souls 2. What a terrible thing. Oh, he dropped an alluring skull. Fancy. Poke. Oh. Alright, we'll come in here. I've been wanting to try and get this item. There we go. It's a bonfire aesthetic, huh? Alright. Well, easy peasy. I thought I was going to have trouble getting that, but not at all. Thankfully. I don't think we've picked up a bonfire aesthetic yet, so let's go ahead and look at that. Tossing this into a bonfire strengthens nearby foes. Once the bonfire aesthetic is devoured by the flames, its effects can never be reversed. Be prepared before using this perilous ember. Fire exhibits a connection to the curse, and when the flames grow stronger, so does the curse. So the bonfire aesthetic, what it does is you put it into a bonfire, and that particular bonfire advances to the next, that particular area advances to the next new game zone. So, for instance, if we wanted to, we could go back to Forest of the Fallen Giants and be like, use a bonfire aesthetic there, and it will advance it from regular New Game into New Game Plus. Which obviously we don't want to do. Alright, I have to backtrack some here. I know that there's still another small section of hidden walls that I haven't done yet. I just need to remember exactly where it is. I know you're there. What? Let's try this. I want to try and blow up this barrel without... Not even close. You are like throwing it in literally the worst place. Almost. Almost. A little lower maybe? Oh, come on. Alright, well we're out. Fine. Doesn't really matter. Okay, the secret zone should be right through here. So we come back here, and there was a secret wall here that we already found. Some green blossoms. And then there's another secret wall. Like I said, they have this in a few spots where it's just kind of secret wall behind a secret wall behind a secret wall. Another pursuer. Nope. Poke, poke, poke. What are you even doing, bro? I feel like that was like a really easy pursuer fight compared to how they've been going. But I won't complain. That face when you mean to go to Uzuki LTD stream and you accidentally look up an anime character you've never heard of. Do I want to know what kind of anime character? Is that a question? Uzuki FTW. I mean, you're not entirely wrong. My my YouTube is Uzuki LTD. Get a new ring here, the bracing knuckle ring. We're gonna go ahead and have a look at this. Here it is. Knuckle ring worn by Roy the Explorer. Roy the Explorer. Shows equipment degradation. Expensive, flashy gear will not always make life easier for you. Sometimes you just need your tried and true equipment to last the long haul. The effect of that ring. Uzuki Shimamura from Idolmaster. I've never even heard of that series. The effect of the ring that we just picked up, the bracing knuckle ring, it lowers the rate at which your equipment degrades. So if you're having problems with your equipment degrading, that is a pretty solid ring to use. We haven't had those kinds of problems, but if you are having those problems where you're using like low durability equipment, the bracing knuckle ring is definitely a strong selection. Or if you're using an ability where there are boss weapons and special weapons in the game where you use their ability and it causes your what's the word I'm looking for? Durability to drop a little bit on your weapon. So you can use the bracing knuckle ring and lower the amount that the durability drops with the weapon arts, with the weapon abilities, which is pretty useful. We picked up a new shield here. Those are not my shields. The Golden Wing Shield. A blue shield with a gold relief of wings, likely a symbol of guardianship used by Knights of the Blue. Contains materials enchanted by magic, allowing spells to be deflected by parrying. More of a PvP shield than anything. I mean... Oh, we can't get back that way, I think. I think we need to go down this way over here. Maybe, actually. Maybe we should just Homeward Bone. Return to Stray's Bonfire, I think. And if it isn't Stray's Bonfire, we can just bamf to Stray's Bonfire. Yeah, alright, cool. Homeward Bones are kind of weird in this game because they return you to the last bonfire you rested at. Come on. And it's bizarre because they reset the world. Like, they cause enemies to respawn. But they don't restore your Estus and stuff like that. So it is a little curious. Oh, crap. I didn't see he was coming after me. But the mechanics of the Homeward Bone are a little curious to me. I don't know why we're going back this way. We really don't need to, do we? Because we got the Sinner's bonfire over there, but whatever. It doesn't really matter, I guess. Peace, bro. Now we're back to Sinner's Rise. Okay. Lucky I saw that health bar. I saw a health bar through the wall over here, and I was like, did that guy drop down? And sure enough, he did. So like I said this earlier, I don't know if it was before you came into the stream or not, but I added a slight delay to my microphone and my my camera. He can't parry the pursuers when they stab like this, surely. Definitely missed you there on something. But as I was saying, I added a slight delay to my microphone and my web camera because I noticed that there was some weird audio issues with echoing and stuff like that from my microphone picking up the audio of my TV, and that audio was slightly ahead, so I set a small delay on my microphone and my camera. Let me know if that's more in sync, if you hear the echoing more, or if it's better or worse, whatever. This is where the guy dropped down. And we can see more guys down there. Could probably hit him from here, yeah? Yeah. Can't hit him there, I think. There we go. Make that upcoming fight a little bit easier. The audio sounds good, but your camera is kind of off sync. Alright, hang on 1 second. Let me see if it'll change. Alright, let me reset it, so hopefully, like I said, let me know how it is. Hopefully that's fine. No, I don't need to hit the bonfire just yet. What? Oh, I'm using not the weapon that I thought I was. Pick up a human effigy here. Poke, poke. That's much better. I don't know about exactly, but it's much better. Alright. Well, it's not going to be an exact perfect science. So, hopefully, okay, it's weird because I set everything to the same delay. I would have to sit down one day and try and figure out what the exact delay would be between all three of the inputs that I've been using. already see a summon sign through the ground here. Get lacerating knives. First time we're seeing these. A throwing knife. Its sharp blade is intended to cause bleeding rather than simply inflict damage. This simple weapon is easily utilized but has limited range and deals little damage. However, if the knife can cause bleeding, the target's max HP will be lowered. Gives a small little bit of information on the bleed mechanic. We're going to go ahead and swap out to a higher block shield. Large leather shield should be fine here. Because we about to see an old friend. Here he comes. Now this is one way of fighting him. Kind of fighting him at the door. Mostly avoiding his attacks by rolling up the stairs. Because rolling up the stairs here really serves kind of two functions. It elevates you above his hitbox, so he's more likely to miss you with his attacks. And because he won't come up the stairs, he can't fit up the stairs. Ow. I did not roll there in time. It gives you like a break point where you can fall back and take a breather if you need to. Didn't even end up using the shield. Swap back to our Target shield here for now. I believe he will respawn. Will he? He might respawn. I don't remember now. It's been too long since I've played Dark Souls 2, even Scholar of the First Sin. Because, I had to cough suddenly. I didn't want to cough into my mic. There was a different enemy type here in the vanilla Dark Souls 2. He's new to Scholar of the First Sin. But let's go ahead and look at the item we just picked up, the ritual band. One of the secret treasures restored in Aldia. Increases spell use, but at the cost of HP. This modest-looking ring contains powerful magic. To imagine what unspeakable deeds were performed to create such rings, Wow. I read that totally wrong. One need only recall the cruel fate of the residents of Aldia. We'll learn more about that a little bit later on in the game. Learn more about Aldia's keep and what's going on there. The Blossom Kite Shield. Another really useful shield. A rare shield depicting a blossoming flower that soothes the weary heart of its bearer. What makes flowers beautiful, and why are we comforted when we gaze upon them? Sadly, the flower depicted on the shield went extinct long ago. Affects stamina recovery. So whatever blossoming flower is on the shield, it's long gone now. So this basically works like the Chloranthy ring. You can equip that and you get more stamina recovery. It's pretty good, especially if you're doing like a two-handed build. You can slap that on for additional stamina recovery, which is super helpful, especially for heavy characters using like two-handed greatswords and stuff like that. he saw us. Did he? Is he coming for us? No, he's just... This spot, as you can probably imagine, is filled with these guys. It's not my favorite area, because like I said, I hate these things. They make me nervous. Because it's really easy to get, kind of like, chain them together. And just end up in a bad situation where, like, you just keep getting blown up by them over and over again. And there's not really a whole lot you could do. I don't believe there's any secret walls over here. We can hear more of those things clicking around, though. We can see a Haydenite in here. Use the steel key. Again, interestingly enough, he's totally not hostile unless we attack him. Pick up a fire seed. This is the first fire seed we found. This actually might be under upgrade material. Yep. A tiny waning flame used to strengthen pyromancy flame. A pyromancy flame serves as the catalyst for pyromancies and scales the strength of each spell according to its level. Fire is a common object of worship. It can never be grasped, and its mystery stokes the human imagination. It can never be grasped. Huh. So from Dark Souls 1... thanks to Laurentius of the Great Swamp, we know that a pyromancy flame is a part of a pyromancer. It's part of their essence. They're actually like using their own life force to create the flame. So it's that's pretty interesting. We're gonna go ahead and tackle this guy. I think this is a spear guy, so come on. I want to get the backstab. There we go. And then this guy drops the hide spear. That is a guaranteed drop from this Hide Knight in particular. He will always, always, always drop the Hide Knight spear. He also has a small chance to drop the armor, a piece of the armor as well. Let's take a look at this. A spear can originating in Hade. A special alloy makes it very durable. The composition of the alloy of these spears remains a mystery, but in Drangleic, the attempt to imitate it resulted in similar braid and steel. If I'm correct, I believe the duplicated steel in question is gay steel. It was rare and powerful. You can see him. Checking to see if maybe there's another one in the room. Not that I see, but they could be hiding under the water. Yep, there's another one in this corner here. And like I said, I don't think there's any more hidden walls over here, but we'll triple check. Crap. Oh, man. I'm glad I stopped here and checked this room. Otherwise, he would have got me real good. Again, no hidden walls, right? I'll be honest with you. It is possible for me to miss stuff. Despite how many times I've played through this game before. It's just as likely for me to miss something that I've forgotten about now as it's ever been. But we're gonna clear this area out. Thought I saw a guy there. I don't think there's any in this room. No. Soul of a Proud Knight and a Ferris's Lockstone. We might end up using that Lockstone for the gargoyles. I usually don't even worry about the gargoyles because the weapon that you get from them like isn't even really worth it, but we'll do it at some point for sure. It's just annoying because it's a PvP area. I mean, I guess I could go offline for it, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens when we decide to do it. I'll probably want to be a little bit a higher level before tackling the gargoyles. Hurrah for skeleton, therefore don't give up. Contextually accurate, actually. Liar ahead. No more hidden walls, right? Here we have a summon side for Sellsword Luette. Who, like I said, if you're struggling, to defeat the bosses with the quest NPCs, Sellsword Luette is a huge help for that kind of stuff. All right, here we have good old Lucatiel. I think we can take off that for now. We can take off this for now. Well, I think the Lost Sinner is resistant to fire, so may as well go ahead and use our regular rapier for this. This is another dumb thing where Lucatiel might die for no reason if you're not careful. Lucatiel can fall off this bridge. Her pathing goes haywire and she falls off this bridge. We'll grab this right here real quick. Radiant Life Gem. Nothing terribly important. Need the Bastille key to get up into here. And then we can use flame butterflies to light this. Looks like there are coiled swords in there. Can't really see it now. Let's see if we can see it in this one. For some reason, I always expect this item to be a flame butterfly, even though I know it's not. There are... No, it doesn't look like coiled swords, but there are swords over there, it looks like. Maybe it just is my imagination. Because they're not, like, weapons or anything. They're big, like, chandeliers. You'll see what I mean. I never remember what this item is. I always expect it to be a flame butterfly, but I know it's not. A smooth and silky stone. There's probably a good reason why I can't remember that item then. Because it's really relatively unimportant. She might be weak to the dark, now that I think about it. Doesn't really matter too much, because it's the only resin that we have. So we'll go ahead and use that. And I don't believe that she can be parried. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and equip the Blossom Kite Shield for some extra stamina regeneration. And then apply Dark to our weapon. So this is the Lost Sinner. She hits hard, and it is a female. She does hit pretty hard, as you can see, and she has a huge range. So it's very easy to get caught in her attacks if you're not careful. She is the first great one that we're up against here. If you follow the path that I normally take. Come on now. Alright, Lucatiel. You can take the final blow, that's fine. Couldn't have done it without you. The big thing with the Lost Sinner is she also kind of seems to kind of slide across the ground. Yeah, the NPC stuff and some of the enemies with like the way that they slide is really bizarre. But these two kind of big sconces up top are what we lit up before we enter the boss room. It does make a difference if you do not light these. As you can see, the other half of the room over here, super dark. This is what you would be dealing with otherwise if you didn't light these two big sconces. And this is kind of her her holding cell. There's all chains running to where she was sitting. Bunch of stuff scrawled on the ground. I wonder if this is like supposed to be actual some sort of runic symbols or what, but so we're gonna take a look at this great soul, and we're gonna talk about this for a second. Soul of the Lost Sinner, prisoner of Sinner's Rise. The Lost Sinner eternally punishes herself for the sins of her past. The Lost Sinner eternally punishes herself for the sins of her past. Not a whole lot of lore on that. In New Game Plus and beyond, she drops an additional soul. She drops the old witch's soul, right? In the cinematic, when we entered the room, you kind of see this small bug that goes into her eyeball, or her eye socket, because she doesn't even really seem to have eyes, but it suggests that that bug might be one of the Witches of Izalith from Dark Souls 1. The Witches of Izalith, after... In Dark Souls 1, the Witches of Izalith were attempting to recreate the First Flame. They were kind of the... It was the inception of pyromancies. It wasn't pyromancy quite yet then. It makes sense that she doesn't really need eyes since she's in the dark all the time. That is a good point. That is a good point. So the witches of Izalith were actually fire sorcerers. They used fire sorceries, which is something very different from pyromancy, but similar in nature. And when the first flame started to fade, they attempted to use their fire sorceries to replicate the first flame. Instead, they created the bed of chaos. They all got turned into what are called chaos bugs. Created the bed of chaos, the birthplace of all demons. And the reason why that's important is because it suggests that the lost sinner has some connection to the witches of Izalith, which has made people wonder, what was her sin? Is she punishing herself? Is she here willingly? I don't know if we really have answers to that at this time, but it's definitely something to think about. I've been thinking about maybe Dark Souls 2 has a lot of differences between New Game and New Game Plus. I've been debating if I'm going to do a second playthrough of Dark Souls 2 in New Game Plus, talk about the differences and the additional lore that we get out of New Game Plus, or if I'm just going to make like a companion video series on YouTube. I haven't really decided what I'm doing for that yet. Fragment branch of Yore and Elizabeth mushroom. This might be the first Elizabeth mushroom we've seen too. Where is that? Why did I not see it? There it is. Because it doesn't look anything like a mushroom. Specially treated dried mushroom creates a euphoric sensation when ingested and restores a large amount of HP over time. Saint Elizabeth devoted her life to helping the needy by concocting medicine and potions. It's thought her great virtue was matched only by her sublime beauty, but who can say now? And then we kind of have this big, giant, empty room. I don't believe there are any illusory walls. I don't think there are. But it makes me wonder if anything was originally planned to be here. The way that we have like the Lost Sinner. Because the design feels very similar to how they designed something in the Sunken City DLC, where you have a boss fight, a small corridor with a bonfire in it, right? And then you have another boss fight. And it almost seems to me like that was the original design plan. I've always wondered why this the chamber for this bonfire here is so huge, so big. Here we have a primal bonfire lit. A primal bonfire was rekindled. Return to the far fire. It's already been 40 minutes for the stream. Wow, that's pretty nuts. Alright, let's use some of our souls. I don't know why for a second there I thought, oh, I'll sit down at the bonfire and I will level up.
That isn't.
But it's at the Emerald Herald here. This isn't Dark Souls 1. Let's see, we have 9 level ups. How do we want to distribute this? Maybe bring our intellect up to 16 and... oh, maybe 18 then. Bring our intellect up to 18 and our faith up to 20. Because we want to get more information out of Falcon the Banished. Not only that, but it brings our fire bonus up a pretty decent amount. Or... we'll put another point into strength. I think this is fine. This should be fine. Let's look at our upgrade materials here real quick for a second. Titanite slab, 2 petrified dragon bones, 1 dark knight stone, a bleed stone, pale stone, and fire seed. 2 twinkling titanite. Can't... well, we could upgrade some stuff if we really wanted to, but don't really want to, not yet. I think we're all right on life gems for now. Well, let me think. Where do we want to go next? We could buy the silver cat ring and maybe attempt to go to the gutter. Or, head to the shaded woods, maybe. Probably the huntsman's coppice. I have a tendency to go there next.
Oh, hello again.
We're gonna make some purchases from him. We're gonna start moving his story along. We will buy... we'll buy this, we'll buy this, we'll buy this, and we'll buy the gloves. That should be enough to advance Moglin's The Armorer storyline. And we'll have a quick look at this set of armor. The Falconer armor. Armor worn by the Vulcan Falconers. Domestic Vulcan soldiers are infamously timid, so it is no wonder that the fierce band of mercenary falconers was hired to compensate. In practice, they serve as bodyguards for the affluent elite, and they serve well, such that nobody dares scrutinize their backgrounds. The Vulcan Falconers. I wonder, because it seems to suggest that they're mercenaries working for Vulcan, rather than explicitly. This is the starting set for the Knight class, which is a little confusing when you kind of think about it. I'm just playing around right now, seeing if there's anything that I might like more than what I'm using right now. I do like the Falconer armor. It is one of my personal favorite armors. But I do think that the helmet is silly because of the long feather up top. I like my Varangian armor and my hunter's hat for now still. I think we'll, Alright, here's what we're going to do. We're going to head back to Sinner's Rise. And we're going to drop our summon sign. This is definitely one of the easier locations to get yourself summoned. But we still haven't gotten a token of fidelity. And I would like to get that to talk to Targray the Blue. So we're going to go ahead and try and get ourselves summoned here. See how this goes. Yikes. Almost rolled right off the edge there. Got a heavy crossbow. I'm sure there's not anything important on that, but we'll have a look. Where's that at? Heavy crossbow. A large crossbow that deals heavy damage. Equip bolts to use. Unlike bows, a crossbow can be held in one hand. Equip up to 2 types of bolts to give yourself immediate options in battle. Yeah, just a little information about the gameplay of the item, more so than anything else. So we can just basically hang out and see if we get summoned. We'll give this a few minutes, see what happens. Sometimes you get summoned like that. Other times it takes 20 minutes, half an hour to get summoned. So if you have any lore questions about anything that you're curious about, now would definitely be a good time to ask. Good opportunity to have a little discussion while we're waiting to see if we can get ourselves summoned for that damn token of fidelity. And then I would also like to trade in these small, the smooth and silky stones over at the Crows just to see what we get. Unfortunately, nothing really comes to mind. There was a few things that I wanted to mention before we cut the stream yesterday. A couple days ago, there was a few other things that I forgot that I wanted to mention, but I don't remember what they were now. You want to see the description of the dark sign in this particular game? An accursed mark. The dark sign induces death, returning the player to the last bonfire rested at the cost of all souls held. Do what you must to gather the pieces, scraping them into some semblance of a whole before the will to do so fades. It's the description of the dark sign here. That last part has me curious. Do what you must to gather the pieces, scrapping them into some semblance of a whole before the will to do so fades. It's obviously alluding to the hollowing process. I imagine it has to do with the Great Souls. That is a possibility. Um, I don't think it's an allusion to the Great Souls specifically. Do what you must to gather the pieces, scraping them into some semblance of a whole before the will to do so fades. I think my interpretation of it is that it's talking more directly about like the psychology of an undead. You know, it doesn't matter what you do to kind of keep yourself whole. Just do it so you don't hollow out. That's kind of how I understand it. And talking about the hollowing process and what it involves always makes me think of one specific character from Dark Souls 1. He's he's the earliest blacksmith you have access to. His name is Rickert of Vinheim, and he's a sorcerer. He's a sorcerer blacksmith. And the reason why I've always found his character so curious is because of the fact that he's actually trapped himself in this room, right? Not entirely sure as to how he specifically did it. They never really talk about it, but he's kind of in this cell, right, where the windows are barred, but there's no way in or out of this little chamber that he's in. Granted, it's possible that like he intentionally did it that way, like he got in through the window and then barred the windows from the other side so he wouldn't be able to get out. And the reason why that is so curious, why it's so interesting to me, is because he is. Oh, we're getting summoned. But I'll keep talking about Rickard since there won't be a whole lot of else to talk about. He is perfectly content sitting there, trapped in this room, just making magical items. He wants to eventually maybe craft something legendary for you. But it's amazing because he has no story. He has no hollowing story. He's an undead and he's fine and dandy being stuck in that room just doing blacksmith stuff, which to me is just, I find that fascinating. I find that his character really, really interesting. There's not anything to his character. Like I said, he doesn't really have a whole lot of story. He doesn't have a quest, anything like that. The only real arc of his quest involves getting him the correct ember for his upgrades, but outside of that, he doesn't really have a story. But his will is powerful enough that he is perfectly content to really just sit there, hammering away. We're gonna aggro this guy and then fall back over here. Can I not aggro him? So that's actually a small, kind of interesting bit of information. Ow. The reason why I say it's interesting is actually because how he's aggroed, how this enemy is aggroed, is via sound, right? Like you walk out into this water, and he comes after you. So, but I came down. I'm a phantom. I came out, and he didn't immediately come after me. I think that's interesting because hollows, not hollows, phantoms don't make sound, as you can tell. Like the sound effects, the sound effect plays when I move around, or when I make attacks. I did not even know that guy was there. Okay, that's interesting. Apparently there's another hollow here. Try attacking oddball ahead. I missed that. Probably gonna want to fight this guy, huh? What? What? He just went from like full health to dead. What? I don't know what just happened there. The internet is a weird thing, I suppose. The internet is a bizarre, bizarre thing. Sellsword Lewitt. So you'll actually we'll be able to see Sellsword Lewitt here in action some. Doing his war cry. He's excited to be here. He's like, no one ever summons me. Uzuki refused to summon me. But I will happily help you. Helply. Yeah, that was a result of me saying help and happily simultaneously. I will helply you. Ellsbury. Elbers? Huh. Elbruzy? Elbruzy. Trying to read the host's name. Can I open this? No. Guess I'll just come over here and hang out for the time being. Being summoned is also a great way to collect a lot of souls real quickly. when I'm playing this game off camera, I'm usually putting my summon sign down every area I'm in, and trying to get summoned as often as possible for extra souls. Because when you get summoned, there's no threat to you, right? To be had. When the host dies, you go back to your world. When you die, you go back to your world, but you don't... What just happened? That was bizarre, the way she, like, slid across the mat. Definitely getting some, like, lag issues here. I'm not using my fire rapier. Like I said, she is resistant to fire. What is going on? Man, technology is a funny thing. I don't want to die. I guess we was lagging. That was what was going on. Looks like you're using the bastard sword. Good on you, friend. Good on you. And now we get a token of fidelity. No, that wasn't just you. Why does it look like we got dropped frames here? Why do we have so many frames dropped? Alright. Hang on one second.